Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. We will be making some Valentine projects tonight, and well, I guess you don't really have to use them for Valentine's. The sentiments don't really say that, so you could use them for whatever you'd like. But we will be using the Sweet Talk suite of products, which you will find on the brand new mini catalog, January through June 2022. This catalog launched today, and this is the suite that we'll be using, page 8, 9, 10, and 11. The products on those 4 pages is what we will be using. So, hello Mary, hello Elaine, hello Jennifer. So glad you could join me. It's exciting, a new catalog launch. So this is the stamp set that goes with the Bouquet of Love dies, and this is the set that you will find on page 11. So this set of dies is called the Bouquet of Love dies, and they come with this hybrid 3D embossing folder, and we'll be using that this evening. And then the stamp set is 15 sentiments, and these are really nice ones because not only do you have a Valentine greeting, you've got Valentine greetings and Happy Valentine's Day friend, but all of the rest of these are anniversary, could be used for wedding, whatever you'd like, engagement. This is just a really good all-around set for any of those occasions. All right, so we're going to be using that one. And then we have the Sweet Conversations and the Sweethearts dies, and this is what they look like. And I've cut these pieces, but most of them you can tell what they do. This particular one just cuts out hearts in your paper. It doesn't actually cut out an area. And this one is to make a little envelope. These 3 dies are super cool because they cut out these thin little hearts. But in doing so, they leave you a bunch of other little hearts that you could layer, use on other projects. And they have them both going horizontally and vertically. So we'll be using those, although we're only using a couple of these tonight. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Hello, Laura. Hello, Cynthia. Thanks for joining. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set that catalog aside for now and grab our pieces and make sure I have my measurements here. So we have a whisper white, basic white card base that is 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. I've got a piece of Highland Heather cardstock, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. I've got a piece of Real Red cardstock. This one's actually optional. This is going on the inside, and this one is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. And then you'll need some designer series paper from the Sweet Talk paper, or you could use whatever paper you have on hand. So these are the patterns that are in this Sweet Talk Designer Series paper. This is one side and this is the other. And one side and the other. Here. These are little lollipops. Then you've got this one. And this is the reverse. And these little hearts all can be cut out with the dies. So you've got that, and this is the reverse side of that. And then there's this pattern with a gorgeous grape and Highland Heather stripe. And finally, you've got the conversation heart boxes with this row of hearts. So it's not entirely Valentine's. It has some neutral pieces. All right, let me put that away real quick. And we will get started. Okay, so you're going to need 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper that are cut at 4 by 1.5, and then you'll need cardstock to match for matting. That's cut at 4 1/8 by 1 5/8. So I've used the lollipop pattern with Blushing Bride cardstock, and I've used the stripy pattern with Real Red, and I've already mounted the Real Red, so let's go ahead and mount the lollipops here. And we'll just mount that right here. A nice even border around. And then those pieces are ready to go, and we can set those aside. And like I said, this is for the inside. Oh, I put that little piece in the wrong bag. Then you're going to need a scrap of Real Red, a scrap of Blushing Bride, and another small scrap of Highland Heather. And from those scraps, you're going to cut out the little flowers from the Bouquet of Love's dies. Okay, so I cut 2 of the smaller and 1 of the larger, and I've already done that. So we'll grab those pieces. Well, we're going to leave those pieces in there. And then you're going to need a scrap piece of basic white, and you're going to die cut from the Sweetheart dies. You'll die cut this little tag out of basic white. Okay. And then let's go ahead and get our embossing done. And we're going to set that tag aside. Okay, so we're going to grab that piece of Highland Heather cardstock. Oh, and we need this. We're going to need the large die from the Bouquet of Loves. And then we need the embossing, the hybrid embossing folder. Okay. So let's get, I forgot to do that again, you guys. I forgot to, you know what? I'm going to stop right now because otherwise I'll forget again. I forgot last week and I wanted to do it. I wanted to share with you a few of the handmade Christmas cards that I got over the holiday season. This card came from Sherry Hampton, one of my dear friends that I actually went to high school with. So she made that card, which I thought was very pretty. That uses a retired stamp set. This is from Lisa Harden of the Stamping Zoo, and she sent this beautiful card using the Bright Baubles stamp set and the Stitched with Whimsy paper. Thank you. Those were beautiful. And then this came from Lynette Greenhill, and she made this beautiful card. Thank you so much. I love how she put the red cardinal together. It's just beautiful. And then this one came from Elaine Thornton, and she made this fun fold card, which is just fabulous. I love it, and this is one of those stamp sets that I had wanted and never got. I love that cute little Santa. So thank you, Elaine. That was very sweet of you. All right, now I can move on with those and move those out of my way. I did not want to forget to share those today. All right, so with this Bouquet of Love 3D embossing folder, normally with the hybrid embossing folders, you would use them horizontally, but this one is designed to be used, vertically, but this one is designed to be used horizontally. So I like to take these, and I need to get a piece of grid paper because I want to show you the trick that I use to line this up. I'm going to put this on my grid paper underneath there, and then I'm going to lay this down on there. I'm going to put my straight line, my straight black line. I've got the Stampin' Up! Logo on the grid paper. And then I'm going to put my die, my heart die here, and I'm just going to set it down in there until it locks into place. And you will feel it has a good solid lock. Okay. And I'm going to take my Highland Heather paper. Oh, actually, I'm going to move this over so that the center of my heart is on a line. So my top and my bottom go right along a line. That way, when I put this down and I look through at my grids, it's 4 inches. So I should have exactly one line on each side, and I should have the same distance top to bottom. Okay, and that looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead and close up my folder. Okay, and I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and you have to use the large one with this. And we need plate 1, and then we'll put in our hybrid embossing folder with the hinge first, and then I'm going to put plate 4 on top, and I'm going to crank that through. Okay, and then I can set this aside. All right. So when we take that out, what we have are 2 pieces. We have this beautiful piece with the heart in the center, and then we have this beautifully embossed heart. Okay, this is the piece that we're going to use on this card, but we're not going to throw this away because we will be using this piece on our next project. Okay, so let's put these away so I don't lose the die, because that would be pretty bad. And then we'll put away our embossing folder here. So in essence, by doing that one little cut and emboss, we're going to get 2 projects out of that. Okay, so we'll set this one aside for our next project, and we'll keep this one. Now we've got these. We're going to do a little bit of stamping. So let's grab a scrap piece of paper, which I thought I had in my little, oh, there it is right there, my little envelope here. All right, we just need a little scrap piece. We're not going to need a lot here. And we're going to take Real Red, Blushing Bride, Flirty Flamingo, and Cherry Cobbler. I'm going to start with the Real Red. And I'm going to get the large heart. I'm going to ink that up in Real Red. And I'm going to stamp that down. Now, if you're working on a hard surface, you'll want to grab your Stampin' Pierce mat because these are photopolymer. This mat that I have down on the tabletop here is cushioned. So then we're going to take the flat squishy small heart. That's what I'm calling it, the flat squishy. Technical term there, people. Okay, and we're going to stamp that down in Blushing Bride. And then I'm going to put these away because I will stamp the wrong thing in the wrong color if I don't put them away. And then I'm going to go to my Cherry Cobbler. And with the stamp that says Text Me, I'm going to ink that up in Cherry Cobbler. You could, if you have limited stamp pads or you don't want to do 2, you could stamp off the heart first. And then, so use second generation for the inside heart and then use first generation for the outside. But I wanted my inside to be real red and I wanted it to be nice and dark. So I'm using the 2 colors rather than first and second generations. So now I'm going to take my Flirty Flamingo and with the stamp that says BFF, I'm going to ink that up in Flirty Flamingo and I'm going to stamp that down. Okay. And then we're going to grab the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. The Sweet Conversations, Sweethearts dies here. I'm going to use the largest heart and the smaller squishy heart. And we are going to run these through. And I'm going to put these on so they don't move because I want them to have a nice border. Just do that, and then we'll crank this through pretty quickly. And now we have our pieces. So we've got that, and we've got that. And let's put those dies away. Okay. So So here we are. Here is the tag that we cut previously, and for this piece I wanted to have a little bit of texture at the bottom. So we're going to grab one of those blocks and we need petal pink for this. I'm taking my colors from the paper, so we're going to ink that up in petal pink, and I'm just going to stamp that along the bottom edge here, like so. And then we're going to take Highland Heather, and we're going to stamp our sentiment that says, "Happy to have you in my life." And we're going to try and stamp that pretty close to the top of that petal pink line there, like so. All right. Now we can start our assembly. Let's grab our card base. We'll give that a good burnish with our bone folder. And then we're going to take these two pieces and put them down. And when I did this, I tried to put these so that they would kind of be centered in here with about the same amount of space on the top and bottom, and then the sides. Okay, so I got those a little too far over this way. Hang on. Let's pull this over. All right. And then we'll put this one down. And layer that up underneath. And then we're going to take that embossed heart that we did. We're going to lay it right there. And then we're going to put our tag, and our tag is going to sit sort of underneath there, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on my tag. Oh, come on. Some adhesive on my tag. I'm going to pop that on there just about there. Then I can take my liquid glue, and I'm not going to put glue over here on this corner because it's going to hang off, and I don't want it to be stuck to the bottom, hanging off crooked. So I'm just going to leave that there, this about like that. Then we're going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm getting down to the bare bones here. I'm going to take the Text Me and I'm going to put one of these down here in this corner. I'm going to put this kind of like this, and then I'll put one over here. We'll pop this on there, like so. take the BFF, and with this one I need to really be careful. I want this to go down here, but because this is already lifted up, I don't want to put a dimensional under there, so I'm going to put a dimensional over here. So, oops, cut that one a little bit long. And check it again. This is the side I want it on. So we're going to do this. And then we have one more touch for the front. Okay. We're going to take the cotton ribbon combo pack, and this is Petal Pink. And we're going to get a small bowl, make a small bow. And I'm going to use my bow jig so that I have a nice, neat little bow here. And this ribbon is so soft. So we'll just tie up a quick bow. Well, we will if the ribbon will cooperate. Okay, trim that off. And we will grab glue dot, and we'll add that with our glue dot. Okay. Let's lay that down. Fold that glue dot up so it's not sticking out where we don't want it, and set it right over the hole in that tag, and then I'm going to trim that up. And there is the front of our card. Okay, so that's something that you could use for your friend. It doesn't have to be for your sweetheart, but you could use it for your sweetheart. All right, now the inside of this card, we're going to take, which I thought I pulled it. Oh, no, maybe I didn't. Okay. 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. You could stamp right in the inside of your card because it's white. I don't tend to do that. I almost always put a layer on. So we're going to take the Petal Pink again. And this line stamp. We're going to ink that up. We're going to put one in the middle, one in the upper right, and one, or upper left, and one in the lower right. And then those flowers that I told you we needed to cut out of those scrap pieces of paper, are going to get stuck in my little envelope here. We're going to add to the inside of our card. Now I'm going to take the large real red one, and I'm going to put this down here in the corner. Take Highland Heather. Remember, with this glue, you don't need a lot. I'm going to stick that up here. And I'm going going to take the Blushing Bride. I'm going to put that down here. And I left it without an inside sentiment so that depending on who you gave it to, you could write your own message or you could add an appropriate message when you knew who you were going to give it to. Okay? So then we can take and add this to the inside of our card. Here's our envelope, and that's the first project. I hope you like that. Do you know if these hybrid folders work in Big Shot? Yes, Mary, they do work in the Big Shot. You would use them just like you would a regular 3D embossing folder in the Big Shot. They'll work. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. So all of our dies and embossing folders will work in other machines. So I love these hybrid embossing folders. They're so much fun. Oops, I put that back in the wrong spot. Now I can't get my things there. All right, let's move on to project number 2. Set these aside. Okay, so our project number 2 is going to use, along with the Sweet Conversations, we are also using the Count on Me stamp set right here. Okay, so I have already in advance stamped the little koala bears from the Count on Me because I wanted that ink to dry so that I could get them colored up. You're going to need a card base of Blushing Bride. You'll need some scrap Real Red, some scrap white. Well, actually, this is your scrap white right here. And then we're going to need, here's another piece of white. I think that was my scrap. We're going to use the polished dots. These are new in the new mini catalog. Okay. Oh, this piece of white, this should be cut at, let's see, this is 3.5 by 4 3/4. We're going to do some stamping on this, and then we're going to run this through the die cut machine with the Stitched with Whimsy dies. So for this particular card, I wanted to make a tic-tac-toe board. So I'm going to take my dark pool party, and I'm taking the brush tip, and I'm going to put my line across and another line across, and then I'm going to go, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, it's a handmade card and it doesn't have to be perfect. So we've got that. Then we're going to take our X's and our O's from the Sweet Conversations stamp set. And I need to color, I need to clean this because we're going to use that same squatty heart. And I'm going to start with Real Red. And we're going to take the Real Red and we're going to stamp a heart here and in the center and in the lower left. Okay. Then we're going to move to Highland Heather, and we're going to take the O's, and we're going to stamp one here, and there, and right there. And that's going to get a little too far over, but it's okay. And last, we're going to take the Blushing Bride and the X's, and we're going to fill in the other 3 squares. Okay. And I should have done a better job of keeping this one a little bit more away from the edge. So we're going to bring back in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And this time we'll be using our cutting pads. So let's go ahead. We need plate number 1, plate number 3, or plate number 2, plate number 3, and then we're going to put our stamped piece in along with the Stitched with Whimsy dies. These are in the annual catalog, and we're going to use the second largest. And this is going to fit just inside that 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch piece of cardstock. And I'm going to turn that at just a little bit of a jaunty angle. And I'm doing that because it goes through the die cut machine better when it goes at a jaunty angle. And I'm going to grab the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and I'm going to put that sandwich in, and I'm just going to crank it on through. Now, that Stitched with Whimsy dies, if you haven't seen those before, it doesn't actually cut. It just puts in some little dotted pattern. So hopefully you can see that. All right. And I think we're done with the die cutting at this point. Okay. Now we're going to take these little koala bears, and we're going to color these. I'm not sure what I did with my grid paper, but we'll use a Ikkyo piece here. It's fine. I'm going to color my koala bears in dark cinnamon, or dark and light cinnamon cider. So I'm going to start with the light, and I'm going to go around the outside of the ears carefully. And then I'm just going to go in. I'll leave a little bit of area around the eyes white and down into the face there a little bit. And then color in these. I'm going to leave the belly, the chest, and the belly areas white. I'm just going to put all of this in the light cinnamon cider. And then I'm going to go back with the dark. Put a little bit here, a little bit under the chin, here where their arms come together and give some definition in their joints right here. Follow those artist lines. And then I'm going to go back and blend this all out with my light, just so I don't have any harsh lines there. Okay. Now I'm going to go back in with the light petal pink. Put a little bit in the ears here. And put a little bit around the face. Fill that area in there. And then I'm going to go back and blend that in a bit. Ever so lightly, barely touching the paper. Okay. And I'm going to finish it off with just a touch of gray granite in here, just so it doesn't look like we forgot to color it. Okay. So there's our little koala bears. Now, I'm going to bring in the Heart Punch Pack. This is in the annual catalog. And I'm going to punch these bears out with the heart that is the straight edge. And I'm just going to give that a punch. And then I'm going to take that scrap piece of real red and I'm going to punch the scalloped edged heart with the real red. And then I'm going to layer those two up. Let's get those punches out of the way. All right. I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal, and then I'm going to marry these two pieces together. Like that. All right, now we have the outside pieces of our card ready to go. I'm going to bring in that piece that we used, that we cut from the last card. And we've got our card base here. I'm going to fold that over. And again, this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Going to add this piece to the front of our card, and I'm going to do that with some liquid glue because this is a 3D embossing folder. So it's got some pretty deep impressions, and I'm going to go all the way around that heart. And you're not even going to see that heart when we get finished, so you won't even know it was there. But you could certainly, if you didn't want to do the tic-tac-toe, you could certainly take and just put this in here and have a cute card. But we're not going to do that because we're going to put our tic-tac-toe grid down here. I'm going to put extra because we're putting it on top of the embossed piece. We're just going to center that up. Give that a press. And grab us some Stampin' Dimensionals. flip this over. I'll put these. And this corner piece should work pretty good down here. And I will have used up my sheet of dimensionals. That's an accomplishment today. Okay, then we're going to add this. Where did I put my little tweezers? There. I'm going to put this in the center here, like so. And in this suite there is some faux linen ribbon, and this is real red, so we're going to take that real red and we're going to tie a bow. And again, I'm going to use my bow jig because I make prettier bows with the bow jig than if I just tie them on my own. Actually, I think I might want this one to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to move those over. I'm going to tie that up. Give that a pull. Get my scissors. And this way, I don't waste a bunch of ribbon. And then I'm just going to place this bow right down here on the side with my glue dots. And this is going to be one of those cards that does not have a sentiment on the front. Make it up and then put your sentiment on the inside when you want it. And it's ready to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and trim our tails here. And that's all the waste of ribbon I had by doing it that way. So that's a good tip for that. All right, the final touch on the outside of this card is the polished dots. I really love these things. They are so pretty. So we're going to take a large pink dot, and we're going to put that right there. And then I'm going to take a smaller dot and put it to the right and to the left of the larger one. And there is our finished card front. Oh, thanks, guys. I'm so happy that you like that. I really liked the way it turned out. So let's quickly do our inside. Okay. So for the inside of this card, I took, well, actually, I'm not going to use that sentiment because I already have one made, and I don't need two because I only have one husband, so I don't need two for my husband. We're going to do, let's do do Happy Valentine's Day, friend. And we're going to pull that from the Love and Happiness stamp set that coordinates with the Bouquet of Love hybrid. And let's see, Happy Valentine's Friend. Where is that? Right here. Let's grab this sentiment right here. And I'll grab a block. And I need a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to do this sentiment in Memento Black, and I am auditioning this because I need to see how it stamps and whether I need to turn it. And it doesn't look like, yeah, I got to turn it up just a touch. Let me get my card inside. Again, I'm using 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it at just a little bit. Stamp that down. And then I'm going to take that short little squatty heart that we did in the Real Red. And for this one, I'm going to stamp it and then stamp it off. And I'm going to put it below my sentiment. And then I'm going to take the Hug Me outline heart, and in full strength, I'm going to put this right down here because it always feels wonderful to get a hug from your friend. And then our finishing touch for this card is we're going to take the Bear with the Heart from Count on Me, which is the same stamp set that we used for the koalas. We're going to stamp this up, and that's a little bit too dark. I re-inked my Memento pad, and sometimes it's just too dark on the one side. Okay, so I'm going to set that down there. All right, that's a good deal. Now, I've taken ahead of time, and if I can find where I set it down at, oh my goodness, I might have to do it again. That would be terrible. Where did I put her? Oh, she's got to be right here. Okay, where's my other little bear? Darn it, I guess I'll have to stamp her again. I did it and I put it in the wrong envelope, and then I don't know what I did with her. Okay, let's get a piece of Designer Series paper. I'm not sure what I did with her. Alright. So this paper comes from the Celebration free, it's called Daffodil Afternoon. This is a level 1, free with a $50 purchase. And that runs today through the end of February. Let me show you this paper. This is paper that is supposed to coordinate with the Daffodil Daydreams bundle. So here is one pattern. This is the pattern we'll be using, and this is the other side. And then we've got this pattern and the back side of that one. And we've got this one, and this is the reverse side. That. reverse side. And then we've got this green hearts with this foliage and this stripy pattern. And then this is one of my favorites because this is designed to just cut in half and make yourself 6 cards. Okay, so let's grab that piece that we need, because I still didn't find my little bear. And we're going to take this and some memento, and we're going to take our little bear image, and we're going to stamp that down right there and let that soak into that designer series paper for a second. Okay, now I'm going to take a black pen. Okay, you could use the Stampin' Right marker or any pigment ink that you have, and I'm going to draw some clothes on here. So I'm just going to take, and I'm going to go from, hopefully you can see this, from the shoulder right here, and I'm going to go over here like so, and then I'm going to take this arm and I'm going to bring it up like that so that it looks like she has 2 arms. And then I'm going to go over from the left, the tip of the left arm, and I'm going to come up like so, going back to this one, and I'm going to come over a little bit, and then I'm going to just put a little scoop in there. Okay, now hopefully you can see what I did there. All right, now at the feet, I'm going to take right in here from the line that the artist drew here, right here at the tip, and I'm just going to extend this over to the ankle, and then I'm going to go over on the tip right here, and I'm going to come over to this ankle. Okay? Then I'm going to grab my snips. I'm going to liberate that from the larger piece of paper. And then I'm just going to cut out those areas just below those lines I drew in. And I'm not really leaving a border, barely. I'm trying to cut right outside the line. Usually we say leave a border, but in this particular case we don't want to leave a border, but we do need to still leave our black line. So I'm going to cut that up and cut around that collar area, cut that arm off, and go down and cut that out, and now we have this piece. Okay, so now we will place this over the top of our bear here, and we're just going to check this out, and I can see that I'm going to need to add just a little bit of detail along the shoulder here. So I'm going to bring that out like I did before. And I'm going to bring this out like I did before. Okay. And I've got enough border there that I don't need to worry about anymore. So now I'm going to take some liquid glue. And I'm going to add this to my bear. And now my bear has these cute little overalls. All right. Now, if you wanted to color up your bear, you should do that before you put the overalls on, but I'm not coloring the bear. The only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my light and dark Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to color the heart, and then I will be done. So I'm just going to color this in, a little bit of light Flirty Flamingo. I'm going to go back with the dark and go around the outside edge. And up the arm, because that's where there would be shadow. And then blend that in a little bit. And there is the inside of our card. So let's go ahead and add that in to our card base. And now you have an adorable little Valentine for your friend. Okay. And here is the envelope that I made to go with that. So I just took the X, the O, and then the Hug Me. And there are our projects for tonight. Let me grab the original. Oh, let me move this down so you can see it better. It's a little bit high there, I see. All right. So here are our two projects for the night. I hope you enjoyed that. I do have a bonus project that I made using this stamp set, but I included the sweet ice cream, and I'm hoping to put this up on my blog later this week. So there is another use. This combines the sweet conversations with the sweet ice cream set. Let me see if I can get these all in here for you. So, okay. Oh, thanks, Elaine. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Jennifer. Don't you love that outfit? Well, if I keep working on you, Elaine, then you'll get that stamp set and you'll feel better because you have it. All right, everybody. Have a great week, and I will see you back here next Tuesday night at 7:45 for another live. Have a good week. Good night.